Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
That's right. Eyes don't deceive you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Taco Tuesday. This is Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast coming at you with another episode. This is season 6, episode 1. I cannot believe that we've reached 6 seasons. Next month, I think actually will be a year. I started the podcast. Wow, time really flies. Time's really showing where this podcast is going, my growth in this. I could not do it without your support. Before we get into it, welcome. Hope everyone's off to a great week, had a great weekend, enjoyed Super Bowl Sunday, is staying safe. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. I do apologize if the last 3 episodes of season 5 have not been uploaded on Spotify, well, Anchor, so it can be posted on Spotify. I'm still debating whether or not episode 20 is going to go live because I had some really technical difficulties in the second half of the show. We'll see. But I need to add tags on those 3 episodes. My goal is to finish adding the timestamps. Excuse me, not tags, timestamps. So if you wanted to see a certain part of the video, go in the description, check the timestamp and click on it. My goal for season 6. Well, with football as of Sunday, now we're transitioning into the offseason. I have a couple ideas in mind that I want to do. I want to get some guests on here, help me break down the season. What went right, what didn't go right. But I want to do it by conference. So you're going to see, the NFC edition, the AFC edition. March Madness is upon us. So definitely be tuned in for that. Baseball, because of the strike right now, it's looking really, really kind of bad. It's looking bad right now. Both sides. Again, at this point, both sides, it's just ridiculous. Athletes Unlimited. This is week 4. So after this month, that's the conclusion of it. Then we get the WNBA draft coming up soon. I think pretty much for now, everybody, all 12 teams for the WNBA, have signed their players who they want. Now I just think the focus is on the draft. Still going to talk about the NBA. I'm trying to incorporate more NBA games in there now that football is over. So that's my goal. I am going to recap the All-Star game, the three-point contest, the slam dunk contest, and the All-Star game. But I mean the same thing like the Pro Bowl. It's kind of gotten it's gotten soft. But I like that it has gotten better the last couple of years. So that's my outlook for season 6. I don't know how many episodes will be in season 6 because I know what we got. We're about to wrap up the first half of the NBA, get ready for the second All-Star breaking in the second half. The WNBA preseason usually starts around April, late March, early April, because the season starts in May. So that's probably when season 7 will start. I haven't determined that yet, so it'll be to be announced for season 7. My production team and I are still trying to figure out just to get through season 6. So, with that being said, before we get into it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, along with notification bells on. In this episode, we're just going to recap Super Bowl 56, some progress. Well, not progress. I should say, let me say it like this. Snail's pace update of this is day 75 of the Major League Baseball strike. My new segment, I got a doozy for you on that one. Then we're going to recap the Washington Wizards. We lost to Sacramento, but we beat the Pistons. We play the Indiana Pacers tomorrow. Excuse me. Maryland basketball. The men almost came back and won. Lost by 1. We play Nebraska. The men recapping Maryland. The ladies beating Iowa, and going to preview Ohio State us getting some revenge against Ohio State. And I want to talk about Aaliyah Boston because I'm gonna save that. Obviously, we're going to recap Towson Basketball in the WNBA. We're in week 3 of the free agency so far, and the Mystics made a move. Looks like they solidified. They made a signing. Then we're going to wrap up week 3 of Athletes Unlimited Basketball. I just want to go over the score and preview week 4 who got drafted, and that's going to be episode 1 of season 6. So Super Bowl 56. Well, let me start off by saying this. I was surprised. My final score was 51-31. Did not turn out that way. The final score was the Los Angeles Rams earning their second championship. The final score was 23-20. I was expecting I was expecting a blowout. I'll be honest. Say what we want. The Los Angeles Rams came in as the better team. I do feel like there was a point in that first half where I thought the offense, Los Angeles offense, just wasn't clicking. I mean, it wasn't clicking. It wasn't clicking on all cylinders. There were a lot of times throughout the game where Sean McVay, I felt like, was a little too conservative. And it made me ponder back to Super Bowl 53. Yes, sir. Good to see you, Sid. No problem. Yes, sir. Sounds good. Where McVay's play calling was just a little bit, to me, somewhat of the reason they lost against the Patriots, but that's on a different other day. Now, Aaron Donald and that defense, when it counted, did its job. Okay? I don't know how you feel if you're the Cincinnati Bengals to know that your franchise quarterback was sacked 70 times. I saw that stat and I couldn't believe that. I cannot believe that's how many times he's been sacked. They're going to have to address, and we can check the tape where I said that the Bengals, Panay Sewell was on my draft board, but in hindsight, yes, the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow connection has worked. But I'll get to that in a little bit. Now, with the Rams, shout out to Sid. When OBJ went down with that injury, that kind of took away the momentum. And just for the record, I understand the players' concerns about playing on turf. I think it was personally a freak accident there. But the Rams running game, they had no answers for their defense. I mean, there's no adjustments, nothing. It's just like the same thing. We're just sticking with the same play calling. And I felt like, particularly going into halftime, I would have expected more. Like, Cooper Kupp did enough to help them to galvanize the Rams to win that game, especially where he embarrassed Eli Apple. The whole sequence of events was crazy. I thought it was a helmet to helmet, and it was a holding call. They both offset each other, but outside that last 5 minutes of the game, the Rams really clicked. That Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp connection is real, and I have to tip my hats off to the Rams. I was skeptical of the trade for Matthew Stafford. I'm on the record. For the record, I want people to understand this, and it's on tape. I do not have any personal vendetta against Matthew Stafford. I think he is a good quarterback. My only biggest criticism is he stayed on the team for 13 years, and he should have left. He should have left when Megatron retired, or forced their hand to get some help. Now, I'm not going to, other than Megatron, I mean, he had Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, and he had Kevin Jones for a couple years. Reggie Bush, like, they're not like Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Robert Woods, Higbee, Von Jefferson. Painfully, Matthew Stafford won the trade.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
But in the long run, I think it will work out for the Rams, because if you're Jared Goff, okay, 3 years ago, you were in the Super Bowl. And this is just my personal opinion. I think you were scapegoated. I do. I'm not going to say Jared Goff was the entire reason he lost that Super Bowl. I'm not going to say that. I think it was collectively they had. I think the Rams were just over-prepared for the Patriots. That's just my opinion. You should be pissed. You should be. The team that traded you to the worst team in the league, and here it is, a guy hosting up a trophy. That should be you. That could have been you. So if I'm Jared Goff, that would motivate me. That would piss me off. That would motivate me to play better. Because Jared Goff is not. I'm not saying he's an all pro caliber, but he is a good quarterback. And he's not. I mean, he's not like Brett Favre, Peyton Manning. Don't misconstrue my words. But I'm just saying, if you're Jared Goff and you're watching the Super Bowl, yeah, that should piss you off. But what it counts is that, yes, Cooper Kupp, I've never seen anything like this. That's why I'm saying appreciate the greatness of a Cooper Kupp. Even before Matthew Stafford got there, I get it. The great players, when you're on the bus, you're the bus driver, not the bus rider. And I have seen I've seen Cooper Kupp this postseason be the bus driver and will his team to win. He did just enough to will his team to win. Now, the Bengals. Look, I'm just saying here. The Cincinnati Bengals for the next 10, 15 years, once they retool that offensive line like the Ravens should as well, watch out.
Guaranteed.
Now, in this game, I'll be honest. I mean, the same last up until the Super Bowl, I didn't really see the Bengals really against the Titans, against the Chiefs. I didn't see that. I kind of saw some inexperience come out. Now, Joe Burrow kept his composure most of the game. I said it again, his offensive line was nowhere to be found. There was a lot of key downs where there's a couple third down plays I felt like that were needed and just couldn't get anything going. The Rams pass rush, I told you that was going to be the key. You had to figure out how to contain the pass rush, and they had no answers for it. Joe Mixon had a good game. Jamar Chase, who burnt, who made Jalen Ramsey work to the point where Jalen Ramsey's playing 10 yards back of Jamar Chase. I mean, that's how Jamar Chase, I mean, he made Jalen Ramsey look basic, in my opinion. Now, their defense, Cincinnati's defense, particularly the secondary, I like Jesse Bates. He can play. Matthew Stafford got picked off 2 times. Now, the only issue was Mr. Vernon Hargraves III, who was inactive, decided to jump on the field and celebrate with his team.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Me personally, if I was Zach Taylor, I'd have had him go back to the locker room. That made no sense to me. Why you're inactive and you're coming on the field in flip flops? That has to be now number one at the most dumbest penalties in NFL history. That has to be number one now. I'm sorry. I felt like I knew the game was over. Where it was a little under 7 minutes, and the score was 2016, and it was a 3rd and 9. Joe Burrow's dropping back to pass. He gave it to Tyler Boyd, which was a good pass. He dropped it. Zach Taylor should have went for it, in my opinion. And then 15 plays later for 79 yards, arguably the second best drive in the Super Bowl. The number one drive was the Baltimore Ravens being the 49ers. Thank you. The go-ahead touchdown by Cooper Kupp to take the lead 23-20. They had a chance to come back, but again, that offensive line. It's just crazy. Now, I do feel like there were a lot of times where I felt like they should have passed the ball instead of running the ball. But again, I think inexperience showed. That's just me. So, I mean, look. Other than that, look. The Bengals, the future is bright. They know they got to fix going into next season. Now they're going to be playing some teams that can play. I mean, when you're there, you're playing the schedule's tougher than when you're playing When you're not great, you're playing mediocre teams. Now, if you're the Rams, congratulations. You got the Super Bowl. But this team is no dynasty. Okay? There are going to be a lot of free agents and a lot of guys sniffing themselves looking for a payday. And I already know some teams are going to overpay for guys. Now, I don't think Aaron Donald's going to retire. I think he's going to stay. We'll see. Odell will probably come back. He did tear his ACL, unfortunately, so I'm sending my thoughts and prayers. Congratulations to Odell Beckham Jr., by the way. I'm happy that he got a ring. I just feel like, in my opinion, I don't believe he was a cancer. I personally believe that there's just teams guys just don't fit on. And Cleveland was just one of those teams he didn't fit. You have to understand, Cleveland, I believe, was trying to become a power run football team past second. You've got Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Njoku, Austin Hooper, and Odell. Something's going to have to give, where there's going to have to be some sacrificing. That's just my personal opinion. And we also got to take into account injuries occurred, where everybody was plagued with injuries. And then again, if we're going to make videos like his dad made, you didn't call out Kevin Stefanski, and you should have called out their offensive coordinator as well. I don't understand that. Like, yeah, okay, they were in that video. Yeah, there were times that Baker should have passed him the ball, but that's more of coaching, and that's coaching. Call that out too. But that's a whole other subject for another day, for another video. So I'm happy that he got his ring. Von Miller got ring number 2. I'm happy for him. Eric Waddle, happy that he got a ring, former Baltimore Raven. And shout out to him. He really talked about his time during Baltimore, said, very fond memories, class organization. I know they're talking about Eric DeCosta talking about trying to get him on board, working in the front office somehow. What else happened? I thought Joe Burrow went down with another injury, but it wasn't the same leg. But he walked it off. He was fine. Look, man, take your hats off to both teams. It was a good game. Congratulations to the Rams. This is their second title. I feel bad, though, for the city of St. Louis. I do, because the owner did them dirty. And that owner had no energy whatsoever. I mean, you got the team to go to L.A. It's in your city. You won. And I'm just so very proud of this organization. I'm just happy for this team. Just very monotone. That's what it was like. And he holds the trophy up like this. Like, wow, okay. That's how you feel. Like, all right. So yeah, man. I mean, it was a great game. Just that second half. That's when for the Bengals, it didn't go their way. Now, I seen in the comments, is Matthew Stafford for the Hall of Fame? No. In my personal opinion, he's not. This is not a Lifetime Achievement Award or Participation Award, like Richard Sherman said. If that's the case, then Joe Flacco should be a Hall of Famer. Drew Bledsoe should be a Hall of Famer. Who else? There's some guys who are not quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers, like Matthew Stafford, right? Great quarterback. He was a good quarterback in Detroit. Everybody has been saying, well, he never had weapons. He never had this. Well, again, when I look at what he had in Detroit, it's not like he had. I mean, he had some decent players. I mean, guys that were not in their prime, but a guy who has never won an MVP, not an All-Pro. Like what are we saying? Like what defines a true Hall of Famer? Because now he wins a ring. Like, is Tracy McGrady a Hall of Famer? In some people's eyes, no. In some people's eyes, yes. Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback. But this ain't I'm not going to put somebody in there because, oh, they finally got a ring, so put him in the Hall of Fame. That's not how this works. It's not. I think he's a good quarterback. Unfortunately, he wasted his time in Detroit. He should have left when Calvin Johnson left, but he decided to stay loyal to his team. And I respect that. But if he's going on the Hall of Fame, then Joe Flacco should go. Matt Ryan should be a Hall of Fame. But Matt Ryan, who doesn't have a ring, he does have an MVP. We all know he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But no, not a Hall of Famer in my book. The Super Bowl halftime show. I thought it was really, really good. Got to enjoy some of my childhood. We lived it. Dr. Dre and Snoop, the next episode, California Love. I know he did a tribute to Tupac, rest in peace. I thought that was really good. 50 Cent in the club. It's funny. I had a back in the day, they used to burn CDs. I had that CD on his debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying. I had that out. I had that CD, one of my favorites. I was a little surprised with some of the song selection for Mary J. I know she did Family Affair and No More Drama. I was kind of expecting like I don't know. That was kind of tough. Kendrick Lamar, shout out to Kendrick, Mad City, all right. And then Eminem, good to see him. And then when Dre did the I Ain't Mad at You, that's one of my favorite songs by Tupac. It really is. It was a really good halftime show. I'm gonna give that out of 10. I'm gonna give that a 10. Because let me be honest. The last few previous halftime shows, but this one was good. This one was good. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts. What was your favorite Super Bowl moment? Yes, Cooper Kupp did deserve MVP. I felt like because he got screwed out of winning MVP. Aaron, I would have given it to Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, personally. So, congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, hey, look, the AFC next 10, 15 years, Lamar, Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Herbert. Like I said, when Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, when they get the Jets and Jags get themselves – no, the Jags and the NFC. Zach Wilson, when he gets himself together, the AFC is going to be something for years to come. So we're going to transition to news around the NFL. Adrian Peterson was arrested over the weekend for domestic violence. As of today, he's not going to face any felony charge after the arrest. AP, come on, man. DK Metcalf, he went under foot surgery. He's getting screws removed from a previous surgery that he had in his left foot. So that's good to hear. There was an article I read earlier where there's some chirping that people think Tom Brady is not really going to retire, but I think he's going to retire. I mean, I don't want to see Tom Brady pull a Michael Jordan playing for the Wizards. No disrespect to Michael Jordan, but I don't want to see that. I don't. Joe Burrow does not need to get knee any surgery on the knee sprain, thank God. So most likely he's going to be just resting in it, make sure it's ice, compressed, elevating, all that stuff like that. The typical stuff, they used to tell us when we played sports. The Minnesota Vikings are supposed, and Kevin O'Connell are close to nearing an agreement for Kevin O'Connell being the next head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He's coming into a good situation. He's got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Conklin, Dalvin Cook. That $46 million experiment on defense.
Relationship with your children.
my God.
It just didn't work. So, if anything, Mr. Kirk Cousins, he needs to take a pay cut. But that's just me. But Kevin O'Connor's going into a good situation. He's got a decent team. Let's see what else is happening. But that's pretty much the whole thing again with Stephen Ross. They're still looking into the tanking allegations. Brian Flores, he added the Houston Texans to his lawsuit after they hired Lovie Smith. Brian Flores said in his lawsuit that Stephen Ross, owner for the Dolphins, paid him $100,000 to tank games. And if that's true, he could lose team. He could lose the team by the other owners voting him out. I'm going to say this for the record. While I do not believe, while I think tanking has its good and its bad, but when I look at that Miami Dolphin team, there's no way in hell that team should have tanked any games whatsoever. Because what that tells me, if you're an owner and you're paying me to tank games, you don't really care about this team. Or you're like, I don't really trust your abilities to coach. Like, we all know Brian Flores didn't want Tua. He wanted Justin Herbert or Deshaun Watson. We understand that. Tua was a front office pick. So we obviously know that there was a divide there. We get that. But to say to tank games, I used in the last episode, last season, I used the Philadelphia 76ers, how Sam Hinkie, the whole trust the process, and now the only member left of that process is Joel Embiid, and they're now winning. And it's paid off. The Houston Astros did it for years. Because at one point, they were the worst team, especially when they transitioned to the American League. And it turned into Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa, Altuve, and they won. And now look at them now as a powerhouse team. The Baltimore Orioles are building from the ground up. Tanking does have some positives. I feel like tanking should be only used as a last resort, especially if you can't. One, if you can't get free agents clamoring to your team, or if you're not making the playoffs. So, like, for example, right, my record is 6-11. We're not making the playoffs, and there's 3 games left. I'm putting the young guys in. Let them get the experience and take it from there. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think that it has become overwatered, where we're taking a big advantage of it, and it is getting excessive. So I do understand it from that. Now, Calais Campbell after the Super Bowl said he's definitely not retiring. I'm open. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I re-sign him, but he should take a pay cut. Me personally, he's 35, and if I'm Baltimore, I'm going young. I'm trying to go younger with the defense and retool it and revamp it. That's just me. Kyler Murray, he's been taking some flack about deleting the Cardinals off his social media, and there's been a lot of back and forth about that. Me personally, I don't really see what the whole fuss is about. I think it's a little bit too much to do with nothing. There's nothing wrong with having a social media cleanse. Hollywood Brown did it, and I don't really see what the big deal is. Now, as far as everything else goes, I mean, that's pretty much it for NFL news. Oh, the Dolphins hired Frank Smith as their offensive coordinator. And, yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on in the NFL. Derek Carr is supposed to get like a $40 million the contract's supposed to be $40 million a year for the contract extension. So we'll see. This is day 75 of transition. This is day 75 of the strike for Major League Baseball. Really quick. So Matt Harvey and a couple other players testified against Eric Key, who was responsible for the death of the pitch Tyler Skaggs, who played for Los Angeles Angels, because he died of a drug overdose of, I believe it was oxycodone, if I want to say it was, back in 2019. And Matt Harvey was one of those guys that testified against him. And Matt Harvey came out and admitted that he had used cocaine during his time as a pitcher. That's crazy. I know C.J. Cron was another one of those players. Just the fact that you had, I think who else was it? I think it was Mike Morin and Cam Beresarian, and they pretty much what the whole gist of it was is that they just accounted when they were all with the Angels. Because if I look, all four of them played together from, I think it was 2016 up until 2019. And that's where a lot of them were saying that's where Eric Keys gave them drugs. And, man, that's messed up. I know CJ Cron, actually, he's now in Colorado. Let's really quick. Mike Morin, I think he's still playing. I think he's with the Twins. I want to say he's a free agent. I know he was with the Marlins. I want to say it was last year, 2020. Yes, and Cam Bordison, he's with the Phillies. So, wow, that's crazy. And I personally believe that Eric Key, because he was an employee for the Angels at the time, he's going to go to jail. He's going to serve some time for that. Because, I mean, I want to give Matt Harvey some. I want to just the strength it took him on that stand to say, hey, I took cocaine, I was given cocaine during my time, particularly early in his career, and then used oxycodone when he went to Anaheim. Like, that's crazy. And there was also even crazy in the article, they talked about how they would, between the players, they would trade drugs, and that's just that's crazy. So man, I'm still kind of shocked. I'm surprised when I heard I said Tyler Skaggs, the pitcher for the Angels. I was like, wow. So as far as Major League Baseball goes, there's just no progress. The the offer that was given to the Players Association where the league wants to cut the minor league jobs, that's stupid. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Now Rob Manfred's starting to lose me. At this point, I don't think you're going to see baseball for a hot minute because, really quick, we have up until spring training was supposed to start. It was supposed to start today. Pitchers and catchers were supposed to start, and February 15th, we're now day 75, and there's no progress. So now this is becoming an absolute joke. So it really is. And on top of that, still, the league is not going to budge on what it wants to do, and neither are the players. So we'll continue to follow that more. So I'm going to transition into my next topic. Next topic: unsung African American heroes in sports. Where again, I highlight a player, a former athlete, coach, whatever, and I want to shine a light on their stories. I touched on last season Frank Robinson, Dawn Barksdale, Lucia Harris, for examples. Now, this episode, I want to hop on. I'm going to talk about the first three African American women to join to play in the Negro Leagues, and Mamie Peanut Johnson. She was the first. She played for the Indianapolis Clowns from 1953 to 1955. Her record, you'd be surprised, she won 33 games. She had a 5-pitch repertoire. She threw a fastball, slider, circle changeup, curveball, screwball, and knuckleball. She learned from the great Satchel Paige. She stopped playing baseball at age 19. She went to North Carolina A&T, and she moved to Washington, D.C. She was recognized in at the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City. And they actually have a street named after her from where she's from, because she was born in Ridgeway, South Carolina. And she's also in the Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown. Now, at the time, she was not allowed to try out for the team because of the color of her skin. She wanted to try out for the All-American Girls baseball league, and didn't work out. So by then, the league was already in decline because you started getting guys like Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, Larry Doby going into Major League Baseball. So Miss Johnson passed away in December of 2017. She was 82. So the next person, Miss Toni Stone, she played for the Indianapolis Clowns and the Kansas City Monarchs. She also played for the San Francisco Sea Lions, the New Orleans Creoles as well. She played from 1953 until 1954. There was one point where I read that she was told by somebody, and I quote, "Go home and fix your husband some biscuits." Pretty much one of those you belong in the kitchen comments. And fun fact, She got a single, she hit a single off Satchel Paige. Really quick, she was signed by the Indianapolis Clowns to play second base. Fun fact, Hank Aaron played for them before he went to join the, at the time, Milwaukee Braves. She agreed. The contract was for $12,000. And the owner of the team, his name is Sid Paylock, he wanted her to play in a pair of shorts or a skirt, and she did not want to do that. She played 50 games with the Clowns, and she only batted a .243. And by then, she was already out the league. She was never allowed in the locker room, even though she was a part of the team. That was interesting. I mean, she said, and I quote, she was like, it was hell because playing alongside guys, because most of the time she was on the bench and sat next to guys that didn't like her. And that was crazy, very crazy. The next year was she was traded to the Kansas City Monarchs, and she retired because she didn't get any playing time at all. So she is in 2 exhibits in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's the Women in Baseball and then the Negro League Baseball exhibit. And in 1993, she was inducted into the Women's Sports Hall of Fame and then the International Women's Sports Hall of Fame. Every March the 6th, it's Toni Stone Day. That is a day dedicated for her. And fun fact, just back last week, Google usually does those little doodles on the homepage. It showed her fielding a baseball from second to first. So that was really nice. So, and she passed away in 1996. She was 75. So rest in peace, Miss Stone. And then finally, Miss Connie Morgan. She was the 3rd woman to play in the Negro League. She played for the Indianapolis Clowns 1954 to 1955. She was given a contract for $10,000. She had ironically replaced Toni Stone, who was traded to the Kansas City Monarchs. The only thing I found, this is my research on it, she started a double play, and that's about it. She batted .338. She was a catcher before she went to Indianapolis. She played with the North Philly Honey Drippers, and she batted it's a women's baseball team that batted .338. That's the only really highlight that I saw, that I Googled, that I did my research on when the Monarchs, is that she made a defensive stop and turned it into a double play, and that was against the Birmingham Barons. So she retired right after the season. She went to William Penn Business Institute, studying accounting. She was inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame in 1995, and she passed away in 1986. She was supposed to be 61. She died 3 days before her birthday. So that's amazing. These three women trailblazed an opportunity for young women like Monet Davis, for example, to other women as well, to play in a game like baseball. I couldn't imagine, just hearing those things like that. You should go home and make your husband biscuits, and to see, okay, let's see what they can bring to the table. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine just the things that, on a daily basis with the team, those things that they were going through. So that concludes the segment. Let's transition to the NBA. The Washington Wizards, they played the Sacramento Kings. We lost by 13. Final score 123-110. De'Aaron Fox looked like he has himself a new partner, and that is Domantas Sabonis. De'Aaron Fox had 26. Sabonis had 16 and 11. And then Harrison Barnes on top of that had 21 points. See, low-key, you have a big three. They shot 57% from the field. Kind of made us look low-key bad. Okay? Really, honestly, I could tell one thing the Wizards are not trying to do is they're not trying to tank. I could tell. And it shows to me. It shows. Porzingis did not play because of a knee injury, even though Coach Wes Unsung Jr. did say he did pass his physical. Kuzma had 22. Corey Casper had 20. And I want to get into what Bertans has some things to say, and Contavious Caldwell-Pope as well. Thomas Bryant's not really looking the same since coming off his injury. And again, I feel like it's going to take a minute for him to get the wheels back under him for sure. But the biggest thing I took away from it is I'm going to continue to say, we have to be better on defense. This whole season, we just are not a good defensive team. Like if this identity of 3 and D, I don't see that. I mean, we couldn't. I mean, we weren't getting back on transition defense, and it's like, I feel like there was a lot of times the Kings played through Sabonis, and it was crazy. It really was, and like just the Sacramento Kings offensively just had no answers for them, no answers. So. Then next, we came back home and we beat the Detroit Pistons 103-94.
What? What? And you got to be kidding me.
Pistons up until last night we're riding a 7-game losing streak. The Wizards are just a better team. The Pistons are 12-45. Okay, they're a lottery team. I feel really bad for Dwayne Casey. Here's a guy that was Coach of the Year, and this is what he has to work with. Jeremy Grant's a good player. Saddiq Bey had 24 points in this game. Jeremy Grant had 14. Cade Cunningham. Most of the game, he got himself in foul trouble real early. I think he only had like 12 points. With the trades, I wouldn't say the Wizards look better, but I could see. I saw something different. Like let me get into it. Bertans, since he was traded to the Mavericks. Quote, it's tough to have team chemistry when every single night the team is basically fighting with each other about, I want to get minutes, I want to get a bigger role. That's was probably the biggest part of the struggles for most of the guys during the season. And that kind of early on doesn't show up because everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. And once it gone down, once it started going downhill, it was really hard to turn around and start up again going. Contavious Caldwell-Pope came out and said pretty much the same thing. And I quote, guys were complaining about minutes, not getting the ball, not touching it. After 10-3, everybody started getting comfortable. I feel like a lot of agendas and egos took over the goals we wanted. Now, are we referring to the guys that were traded? Montrezl Harrell, Dinwiddie. Who are we referring to? Bertans doesn't sound like that kind of guy. Aaron Holiday doesn't sound like that kind of guy. I mean, Montrezl Harrell, to me, is a spark plug. So that lets me know that there are some guys who needed to check their ego at the door. And I could say probably for one was Bradley Beal, because we're going into year 4 of the rebuild, and we only have to show a first round exit. That's what we have to show for. Like, the common goal, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm on a team, is we're here to win basketball games. Hey, okay, there are some nights you're going to be taken out the rotation. You're not going to get a lot of touches your way. Like, sometimes coaches try to put the best lineup out there to win. Now, you would think this team that was 10-3 before the trade deadline, somebody would have taken leadership and initiative to say, let's all sit down and talk about this. Because the fact that a lot of these now that's coming out now because of comments like this, egos and agendas, the team is basically fighting with each other about, I want to get more minutes, I want a bigger role. That lets me know that this wasn't going to work. But unfortunately, we had to put that behind us. But if I'm Tommy Shepard, you got some work to do in the offseason, because personally, I see what I could get for Bradley Beal and take it from there. Marvin Bagley, getting back to the Piston game. Marvin Bagley, he was traded to the Pistons, had 10 points. What else happened? I mean, biggest takeaway was, Cade Cunningham. I'm trying to follow some of his games, and this was one game where I followed him. He got into foul trouble. He's young. This is his rookie year. Mentoring, leadership, all that plays a role. And I feel like this Wizard team looks a little bit more energized. I feel like roles have changed. Looks like guys are really starting to play more with a more up-tempo beat. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it looks like to me. I will say, like, in that first quarter, first half, like I'll say the first half, were nerves there. And then the Wizards picked it up. So, I mean, the Wizards, ladies and gentlemen, they're not a bad team. It's how to get everybody collectively all on the same page. Because now we're on the road for 2 games, and we start with the Pistons, and we got to face Brooklyn after this. Now, Beal's out for the season, Gafford's out, Porzingis is questionable, and Roy Hachimura sprained his ankle. Now, T.J. Warren's out. T.J. McConnell's out. Chris Darte's out. Miles Turner's out. Ricky Rubio's out. Brogdon's out. And Isaiah Jackson. The Washington Wizards, on paper, should win this game. Now, the last time we played the Pistons, we lost by 6. That was back in December. And Bradley Beal had 34 points. He was our leading scorer in that game. Now, my concern is, once again, it starts with the defense. Now, fun fact. Kuzma had 23 in that game, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 16. Ish Smith, who I like, he's back. He's coming off the bench. I think he's a good little leader for the young guys. We shot 47% from the field, and again, we're still struggling behind three, but that's okay. Now, we're averaging over almost 107 points a game, and as a defensive unit, we're almost allowing 110 points. That can't happen. Now, when we're over or under, our record is like 22 and 33, something like that. It's weird. It's really weird to explain. You're the Pistons, and they're going against the Pacers, as I stated, who by far, that's a lot of injuries they're dealing with. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games. The last win they had was against the Clippers. Like, they don't really have now. They got Tyrese Herbert, Lance Stevenson, and then you have someone named O'Shea and Brissett. Like, they really I want to say that the Washington Wizards upset the Pistons 99-83.
Guaranteed.
Because I just really feel like when I look at on paper, the Wizards have the better team, and they need to take advantage of that. Now, that Pacers team was healthy, I'm gonna say the Pacers, and that's not Rick Carlisle. I don't know where the Pistons what direction they're going in, and we'll see. We will definitely see. Let's transition to NBA news. I want to talk about this, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I've been reading a lot of articles where it's talking about their relationship is so. I mean, there's a lot of rumors talking about they don't get along. A lot of it goes back to when at the start of the pandemic. They're both hungry competitors, and they're trying to win. Last time I checked the standings, they're 4th place in the West. I personally believe that's the yes people around him wanting him to get out of a small market to play somewhere else. That's what I think, in my personal opinion. So I'm really hoping that I believe the relationship between him, Donovan Mitchell, and Rudy Gobert will work itself out. Now, you might not remember this guy, but Tyreke Evans, former Sacramento King, and he also played for the Indiana Pacers. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep saying one is an Indiana Fever. I'm sorry. He is back after a 2-year ban for violating the anti-drug policy. So he could be signed. Tyreke Evans he went to Memphis? Was a good little guard. Rookie of the year, first team all-rookie first team. I thought he played well. I mean, I know he had a couple of injuries in Sacramento, and then he went to the Pelicans. That little Pelicans team, him, Eric Gordon, Ryan Anderson, Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis. That was not a bad little starting 5. But he also played for the Grizzlies as well. So he did. He did play for the Grizzlies, but it was only for like 1 year. He was banned in May of 2019 because he did violate the anti-drug policy. I would say the probably only really true highlight of the game of his career that I can remember is when he hit a game-winning buzzer beater from full court. Who was it against? I think it was against the Grizzlies. I want to say it was against the Grizzlies. And that was it, because it was OJ Mayo who hit the go-ahead score, and he half court He just heaved it up there. So I'm glad to see him back in the league. I'm hoping someone will give him a contract for sure. I'd like to see that. LeBron James surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most points combined in the playoffs and regular season. LeBron James is the best basketball player in this era of basketball, but he is not the greatest of all time. I don't believe in that. I just don't. I believe there's the greatest player of each generation. Each generation has had their impact on the game. And LeBron James has benefited from the rule change. A lot of the league has gotten softer where he can play. It's easy to play the player to get back to the basket. We're taking more threes, different things like that. There's no physicality. The game has changed in some ways. So, I'm happy for him. Congratulations. Without a shadow of a doubt, arguably the best basketball player of this generation. But GOAT of all time, no. I was reading this. Charles Barkley, who's on Inside the NBA, he said, and I quote, he'll probably retire from once his contract's up with TNT. So that means it'll be the 2023-2024 season. He said it right here, and I quote, "It's been a great, great thing. I love Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, and everybody we work with, but I just don't feel the need to work until the day I die. I don't, man. I'll be 61 years old if I finish out my contract. And I don't want to die on TV. I want to die on the golf course or somewhere else fishing. I don't want to be sitting inside over by I don't want to be sitting inside over by fat ass Shaq waiting to drop dead." Like, always gotta be taking the shots at Shaq, man. But that's just the relationship. That's just the like little brother, big brother relationship that he and Shaq have. Again, I've been on the record. I've said it. Guys like Chuck, Michael Wilbon, Ernie Johnson, Carolyn Peck. Oh man, there's so many others I can say. They gave me the confidence that made me want to be interested in journalism. I don't think we'll see. We'll see. They're gonna find ways to keep him from going. So we'll see. The press conferences for Ben Simmons was today, and I heard some of it. And actually, it gave me a different perspective on Ben Simmons. I was one of those that was critical on Ben Simmons. The biggest thing was learning how to shoot the ball. I think that was really kind of the only biggest thing we were saying was learning how to shoot the ball. I thought it was a very, very interesting. It goes back to November of last year. He was not mentally not ready to play. And I think a lot of it just had to do with I think how the season went and different things like that. And they asked him about his mental health and did it have anything with him wanting out of Philadelphia? He said no. And I quote, "For me, it was never the mental health has nothing to do with it, just a trade. It was just a bunch of things I was dealing with as a person in my personal life that I really don't want to go into depth with. But here I am now. It's a blessing to be in an organization like this. I'm looking forward to getting back on the floor and building something great here." He said the last 6 months he really had some really dark moments going on, and kind of the same thing I was talking about Kaiser Gondrzik. These athletes, they're human too, and I think some of it also has to do with we as fans. I think sometimes can go overboard sometimes. Like we see greatness in Ben Simmons, and I've also said this too. There are cities where if you don't exceed expectations, fans will turn on you in a heartbeat. Like the fans in Philadelphia, they'll let you know in New York, for example, when you're not playing like you're supposed to, they will let you know. Now, he also talked about they try to say this. They try. It looks like the media was trying to start something. Did Joel ever reach out to you? They're supposed to play each other on the 10th, and he said he hoped so. So he was there at the game. It was good to see him, Ben Simmons. I wish all the best for him going forward as the season progresses. I want to see him back out there on the court. I think he's a good player. I do feel like, again, I never questioned his mental health. It just was, to me, I think a lot of it just goes back to, I just think last year in the playoffs, I think just was just a lot. And I just don't think it worked out between him and Philadelphia. I think just expectation, and I just think sometimes you just need to change the scenery. Now, James Harden, I heard reports that Kevin Durant wanted him traded. There was no feeling of each other. Some people question his legit hamstring injury. I don't know, James. I'm a fan of James Harden, but I'm kind of curious to see where this is going to go. I'm kind of curious to see. But let's transition to college basketball, Maryland basketball. Couple things. So after that atrocious performance where we got shellacked, Maryland, the men, almost came back and beat Purdue 62-61.
Relationship with your children.
my God.
You know what? Dante, I can't get mad. Dante Scott, he missed the go-ahead layup to win the game. Man. That was a better Maryland team. It was better. Fats Russell, he finished the game. I believe he had 24 points. It was funny just to see going into the halftime, right? Maryland, I believe, had shot 60% from the field, and Purdue was held under 40%. It was a lot of back and forth. But the one thing that I know is that we still continue to struggle in the first half. We had the lead going into like the first 20 minutes of that game. Excuse me. Then we blew that lead. Fats Russell, you got called, I believe it was for a tech. That made it worse. And we allowed him to go, I think it was on a 7 or 8-0 scoring run. Eric Isle didn't play. I didn't find this out until I was on Twitter. He had a wrist injury, like right before the game. So he didn't play. Now, we're going to just with going into the third and fourth quarter, Maryland had 10 shots, but they made 8 of them. And the last 3 offensive possessions made them. Now, let's get to the end of the game. 30 seconds left. The game is tied at 59. Now, it was about less than 30 seconds. Fats Russell had the go-ahead layup. Well, no, he tied the game up thanks to at 59. Now, Jaden Ivory took it to the lane. He made it an and one. Okay, we're down 3. Maryland got the ball, and we almost had it then Dante Scott missed it. I can't get mad at that. They played a really good game. I was surprised against ranked number 3 Purdue. After Purdue came out and they got embarrassed, the week, this past week. Like, fun fact, did my research. Purdue, known as the Boilermakers, they averaged coming into this game a little under 84 points a game. Their shooting from the field is about 50.5%. Now, after the Hawkeyes dropped 110 points on us as a cohesive unit, we allowed in the first half 26 points and forced Purdue to shoot under 41% and under 25%, which is 22% from 3. Now, I brought up Mr. Jaden Ivory, right? He's leading the team with about 18 points a game, right? He had a donut the first 16 minutes of the game. Had a donut. And then in the second half, he picked it up. He had 11 points, and then he had to go ahead and game-winning bucket. So, I mean, we contained him. We did a good job defensively. That's what I've been kind of looking for the whole season from these boys, and I'm actually not mad at that. I'm really not. We played Nebraska, and there's a couple things that I saw that I kind of wanted to sink my teeth in. Because last time we faced them was last year, like around this time. And we had beaten them 79, 71. It was a home game for us. Eric Ayala had 24 points in that game, and Aaron Wiggins had 22. Now, a couple things that stuck out to me in that game was we committed. I forgot who we played at before we played them, but that game before, we had turned the ball over. I think let over. I think it was like 16, 17 times. And we played Nebraska. We turned the ball over less than 5 times. Now, in that game, is it the Cornhuskers? Yes. They committed 11 turnovers, and we scored like over 13 points off their turnovers. Now, the biggest takeaway from that game was everybody, like Aaron Wiggins, Eric Ayala, those two were the keys. Now, obviously, Aaron Wiggins is gone. And you also had Jarius Hamilton as well. They're gone as well. Biggest thing was ball movement and making shots and playing defense. Because, again, that was their identity last year, ladies and gentlemen, was playing defense. This year, I don't see that. Now, this is Nebraska we're going up against. Making shots and playing defense. Those are the keys to beating the Cornhuskers. Cornhuskers. I'm sorry, not Cornhuskers. Cornhuskers, excuse me. Their defense, particularly against Purdue, was some of the best defense I saw. Even though they let Jaden Ivory go off in the last couple of minutes in the second half. But their defensive intent, on defense, they look better than after that atrocious performance against Iowa. I think there needs to be more confidence given to the guys. I'm looking for Fats Russell, Julian Reese. I need these guys to really step it up because I just feel like let's just look at Nebraska really quick. I don't really think they're having. I think they're like right below us in the Big Ten. They're 14th. Yeah, they're not really having a good year. They're 1-13, and they're 7-18. So, with that being said, let's look at who's their leading scorer. I'll look at their schedule too. I want to see who they've played. Their last lost. They lost to Iowa. They lost 98-75. They were actually on a from January 2nd, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-game losing streak, and they finally got snapped against Minnesota back last week. Okay, as of right now, your leading scorer is Bryce McCallens. He's averaging 16.5 points a game. And then behind him is Alonzo Verge Jr. with 13.6. And then, interesting. The Maryland Terrapin, the men are beating Nebraska 91-78.
Guaranteed.
Let's transition to the ladies as we faced Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. We're now on a 7-game win streak. The final score, 81-69. Well, I was not surprised at all with this game at all. When we talked about in the last episode, Caitlin Clark is pretty much the offense, and we contained her. That was probably the best defensive game I saw from Maryland. Caitlin Clark did not have a great game at all. I mean, they made her work. Cheyenne Sellers, Diamond Miller, I don't care who was on her, particularly in the second half. Caitlin Clark was nowhere to be found. They played defense on her. Now, actually, I thought she would have played. I think she would have played next game, but she did not. She still was out doing an ankle injury. But I was like, wow. Like, for example, we took control of the paint. We took it after the first half. We were down a little bit. We came back. We were up 46-24. Angel Reese, who's been, I think, having the best season, had 18 points. And just in the first half alone, had 5 rebounds. Diamond Miller had 10 points. Maryland shot, I think it was like a little over, I think it was over 50%. I think it was like 51, 52%. And then shot 5 threes out of 9. I gotta give the defense some love. I have to. Like, I never seen that kind of defense. Caitlin Clark had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. She turned the ball over. I want to say it was like 7 times. I want to say it was. It just the little things, the rebound, defense, containing Iowa to 69 points. That, if anything, that's a statement to me. That truly is. And again, I just want to point this out. Fun fact: 5th straight game, we're out rebounding opponents. We also had 19 offensive rebounds, and that also played a factor. Now, this was a game where obviously you had two offenses that like to get out in transition, and Maryland obviously was the better team. Again, I'm looking at the fact, like, oh wow, because Caitlin Clark is their offense, and 40 minutes, 19 points. I'm sorry, 19.6 rebounds, 6 assists, 10 turnovers. She shot 28% from the field and shot 23% from three. Because I looked at her stats, she is the offense for Maryland. And look, say what you want. I'm hoping that this win puts the Lady Terps back in the top 10 for the rankings. I really do, because I get it. I feel like they haven't played some of the best basketball. I get it with the injuries and all those different things like that. But we cannot ignore what they've been doing. We're now 4th in the conference. We're 11-3, 19-6, and we have, unfortunately, 3 games tomorrow. We play the Ohio State University, and the last time we saw them, we lost. It was like 95, 89, and I'm sorry, we weren't ready. You see, what happened was, it was just, it just wasn't our night. The Ohio State, they're a good little they are a good little basketball team, and they just got the best of us. Now, a couple things I took away from that game. Maryland, the ladies at times can find a way to get down in the game. I remember in that game, particularly like I want to say it was like around the second quarter, we were down as almost like 15 points. And then in the second quarter, we only scored 3. That was against Michigan. Like, Maryland kept it close, but they get off to a slow start. Taylor Mikesell, who also was a Terrapin, killed us from 3. She made 5 threes and had 33 points in that game. And then also, too, let's also not forget Maddie Nolan, also, too, as well. So, taking away the 3-point game away from Ohio State is going to be key. Winning the battles, winning the boards offensively and defensively. Let's set the tone, establish paint presence. I don't care who we got to put on Taylor Mikesell or Maddie Nolan. I don't care. Because Maryland can create turnovers. And that game alone, they made Ohio State surrender 8 turnovers. And then also, too, but it was a both where the Buckeyes were doing that as well. Now, we turned the ball over 18 times. We can't let that happen again. That cannot happen. And you take away the three, cut down the turnovers, and we're playing Maryland basketball. The Lady Terps are getting that revenge against the Ohio State Lady Buckeyes, 95-80.
Guaranteed.
Let's transition. I wanted to talk about Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston plays for the South Carolina University of South Carolina. In my personal opinion, I think she's player of the year.
Guaranteed.
However, I've noticed that there has been this narrative on Aaliyah that's been created, where people are pushing for Caitlin Clark to be player of the year. And you're starting to hear people bring, well, why are we bringing race into this? Why are we doing that? I want everybody to understand this from my point of view. I have been on the record, I'm going to continue to say it. The media controls and spins the narrative. The media is going to push who they want to push. They look at Caitlin Clark, and I looked at her stats, and by all accounts, I mean, she's averaging about 35 minutes a game, average about 27. She's shooting for where she was last year. Her 3-point percentage is down. She's shooting 30.5%. She's averaging 8 rebounds. She's averaging an assist more than what she did last year. And this notion that she should be player of the year because she has little to work with, I think that takes away from what Aaliyah's done because she's on a stacked team. Well, maybe if you understood, maybe she is a piece. She's a reason why that team is successful. Aaliyah Boston, she's averaging 17, 11, and 3 blocks a game. Her 3-point percentage is better. She's shooting over 30%, and field goal percentage is better. Like, I just don't understand. Because you're seeing somebody put up NBA 2K numbers that automatically is inclined to give them MVP or player of the year. And that's just not how it works. Here's Aaliyah Boston. If you're watching the games, again, that's why I have to give the regular Ravens fan a shout out, and I'm quoting him, trust your eyes. If you're watching these games, you know good and damn well Aaliyah Boston is the best basketball player in the game, in the country right now for women's basketball. You know that. I know that. There's this notion that we're hating on, or there's this disdain against Caitlin Clark because of what she's doing or who she is as a person is total BS. We're simply talking about the narrative, these narratives that have been created against by people in the media, ESPN, whoever, who's covering these games, and they don't and they're not giving girls like Aaliyah Boston their flowers. Like, when does it stop? Like, for example, Brianna Stewart, who's a great basketball player, won 3 players of the year. May I remind you who her teammates were when she was at UConn? Bria Hartley, Morgan Tuck, Steffi Dolson, Gabby Williams. I think even a couple years she had Azrae Stevens. Those are just a few to name. And they're all in the WNBA. Not saying, and all have had great careers. I even think she had Mosqueda Lewis. I can't think of her name. Kalia. It's just, and I want to point this out because Don Stanley, one of my favorite basketball coaches, said this. Let me find it. I want you guys to hear this. Where is it? Hold on. Because it's on her Twitter, and I saw it. I wanted to read this to you guys. I'm trying to find it. Okay, here it is. It's a shame I have to do this, but I'm going to create a narrative for Aaliyah Boston because I'm not going to let this go down. I need to focus on coaching my team, but if the decision makers of our game choose a narrative that's unfavorable to mine, who's done it all season, I'm all in. And here was a response where somebody was like, well, I don't see anybody dismissing what Aaliyah Boston has. And Don responded with, it's the narrative that's being created as of late. I'm only going by what I hear on our games and other games. I leave no stone unturned when it comes to Aaliyah Boston, who the bottom fell out last year in South Carolina was not a part of the narrative until long after the season was canceled. And this person responded by, what I'm not getting is why y'all think it's not okay to praise other players too. Who cares if they praise Clark? It's the vote that matters. Let's wait until the end of the year. Miss Boston will win Player of the Year. You guys are tougher than the UConn fans. And then she responded, I hope I'm a part of the y'all because we have seen what narratives created by women's basketball do to the y'alls of our game. And again, we're pushing players. Like if you're like, it makes no sense that this is what it's been practically all year. I watched a few South Carolina games, and Aaliyah Boston can play. And again, I said she is the best basketball player right now. And besides winning, and I don't think it has to do, and this has, in my personal opinion, this has nothing to do with winning a national championship, regardless of her winning it. This is another narrative that we have to continue to shoot down because it's just like we're missing the greatness. And what we're seeing, I make the same argument when I talk about Lamar Jackson coming to his defense. I keep hearing the same BS every day, every time. He can't throw the football. He's not that guy. He can't do this. He can't do that. But if you're watching the games, the youngest player to get of wins, unanimous MVP, he took a team that was dead in the water, and the first year since he's been the starting quarterback, because of injuries around him, he got injured, COVID. All of a sudden, all hell's broken loose. Now I'm done with him after 4 years. Because why? We've let the media get in our heads instead of watching the game with our own two eyes and not trusting them and going, well, that Lamar Jackson or Aaliyah Boston, they can play. But we're not saying Caitlin Clark's a bad person. We're not saying Paige Becker's a bad person. All we're simply saying is, yo, man, like, are you seeing the same basketball that we're seeing? That's it. No one's deeming you, making you a bad guy. We're just trying to get you to see from our perspective, oh, you know what? Okay, I get you. Now, if I'm Aaliyah Boston, continue to play your game. Continue to just play basketball. Let Coach Stanley and let others in the media. I got to give a shout out to the committee, like for example, at Shawnee, at Natural Wonder, B. Terrell, all of them. Those guys are going to continue to kill the narratives because at the end of the day, it makes zero sense that these narratives that have been created, because we're pushing for a player that has putting up these video game numbers, which is great. That's cool. Hold on. I apologize for that. My little timer went off on my phone. Now, as I was saying, we have to do better, because when we call these kind of things out, then you got people in the media, and I'm not going to say who their name was, but they got in their feelings because they were called out about using that picture of Aaliyah Boston crying, which I thought was excessive, and it should have not been put up there in the first place. But these narratives, they're going to stop. Caitlin Clark, she's a good basketball player. Paige Becker's a great basketball player. But let me ask this question: Is Caitlin Clark averaging 27? Is it for the greater good for the team? Because I look at their record right now. They're 16-7. They're right behind us. South Carolina's 23-1. And Aaliyah Boston by the media is on a stacked team. So, for example, I know this may sound weird, but the NBA All-Star game, right? Because there's always this debate: does winning matter? All these different things like that. You're putting up 30, 40, 50 points on a team that's not winning is irrelevant. That's great, but can you put those same numbers on a good team? No, because why? You're going to lose some touches on the ball. There's going to be some sacrificing of points. Caitlin Clark is the number one option on the offense. I looked at their roster; they only have two others that are averaging double digits in points. My point to close this out, I just get tired. These narratives that are being created. Unfortunately, yes, we have to talk about it, because there's always this factor of, why are we not appreciating the greatness? Like, what is it? And winning a championship to me has nothing to do with it, because it's the same thing when she goes into the WNBA. I mean, I remember, and real quick, I got to give a shout out to Cheryl Swoops. I know they were talking about this on the Twitter space, and the same thing. They talked about how she has been waiting to get a call to commentate the WNBA. There are a lot of former basketball players that I think would be great at commentating, and she hasn't gotten that call. Same thing. It's like Aaliyah Boston. When is she going to get her flowers? When is she just going to get the respect? That's a damn good basketball player right there. Because whether we like it or not, they're going for the championship.
Guaranteed.
But they got to go through Maryland. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don Stanley, if you're watching, I'm just kidding. Okay. But they're on a mission. All seriousness, they are. And again, stats matter, but your eyes also do. I trust my eyes. And if you're not looking, if you're not looking at these stats that you're seeing, you're not watching the games. You're just not. Because how can you sit there and tell me and make this argument that, oh my gosh, like Caitlin Clark has less to work with and Aaliyah Boston's on a team that's stacked. And for that, Caitlin Clark should be considered player of the year.
So when are we going to say something about it? You know what? I'm going to walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's going to stop. It really is truthfully going to stop. But we're going to transition in the Towson Basketball real quick. Just want to recap. For the ladies, the Lady Tigers, we beat James Madison University 87-76. We play University of, what's this, at Wilmington? I think this is University of Charleston, North Carolina. No, North Carolina at Wilmington. I'm sorry. We played them Friday. The last time we faced them, we beat them 72-49. The Lady Tigers are beating University of North Carolina at Wilmington 83-55.
Guaranteed.
And then after that, we got the College of Charleston, Hofstra, Northeastern, University of Delaware, and Drexel University. And then we got the CAA championships from the 10th of March to the 13th of Sunday. For the men Tigers, we have to face University of North Carolina at Wilmington. This one on CBS Sports Network. We beat Allen University 86-50. The last time we faced University of North Carolina at Wilmington, we lost in overtime 77-81. That will not be a repeat again. The men are beating the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. They're going to get their revenge 84-77.
Guaranteed.
And then we got, after that, Charleston. We have to play James Madison twice. We're making up games. And then we got Delaware on the 28th. And the CAA tournament March 5th through March 8th. I'm guaranteeing that both the men and women Towson Tigers are making March Madness.
Guaranteed.
Let's transition into the WNBA. This is week 3 of the free agency. Courtney Vandersloot is back with Chicago on a 1-year deal. About time. Was waiting for that. So they got the team back now. So Allie Quigley, Candace Parker, Emma Meeseman, Azrae Stevens. Oh, I forgot who it is. She kind of got some big minutes last year. I think it's Toro Nador. She's going to sit out this year for rest. So that means probably like Ruthie will probably get more minutes. Azrae will probably get more, most likely get more minutes. So, because their roster now is, Diamond's gone. Lexi still hasn't signed, not to my knowledge. You got Dana Evans. They're still there. They signed Crystal Bradford, Kamira Smalls, Kaiser Gonzik to training camp, both the training camp contracts, and they got Julie Ullman and a first round pick. So I know Olaf Lang. He's probably going to join. That's who it was because he's married to Sandy. I think Sandy Bordero. So I think I have a feeling he's going to join New York. So because they're husband and wife. So I have a feeling he's going to join her with the Liberty. Kalani Brown. She signed with the Chicago Sky.
Congratulations! Oh my God.
I'm mad it wasn't the Mystics. I'm happy. I've been on the record. I can't tell you how many times Alana Coates and Kalani Brown. I feel like again, I'm glad they've both gotten opportunity to be in the league to prove their worth. And again, I just want to reiterate this. Every player, when you transition from college to pros, everybody's game shapes differently. Like, let's not forget when Alana was at South Carolina, she injured her foot and missed her rookie year. I forgot where she went overseas. I want to say it was Hungary. I want to say it was like that. She went over there. And then she was traded to Minnesota, then Atlanta, then Washington. And, she talked about how when her father passed away when she was overseas, that really impacted her. That, she wasn't the same after that. Then she's currently, I believe they're on break in Turkey. And she's actually having a good year over there. So shout out to Alana. Kalani Brown, 2020, was traded from the Sparks to the Dream. I feel like that was a Penny Taylor pick. Derek Fisher, I still don't understand what he was doing with that. Trades her to Atlanta. She contracted COVID. I guess I get it. She did put on some weight, and she admitted, that she wasn't, she was going through a lot at the time personally. And now look at her. I mean, she's in basketball shape, lost over 40 pounds. And she's making it known that not count her out. And I think that's a good move for Las Vegas, because everyone was saying, "Oh, they didn't re-sign Liz Cambage. Oh, they're going to regret it." You're getting another post player, and I think she's going to. I think she's going to complement Asia well. I think she's going to that's going to be that front court. Don't sleep on it. I think that's going to be a good, interesting one front court. Now, I do think she will probably come off the bench, in my opinion, but you could see some games where she's starting. A lineup where Kelsey Plum, Jackie, De'Erica, Asia, Kalani, that lineup, that's not too bad. But I'm happy that she's back in the league, because she's really playing really well in AAU basketball. She really is. And I'm just happy that both are in the league, because we need that. We got Brittany Griner, Liz Cambage. I want to see matchups like that in the league. I don't really understand why we're not valuing players like that. Makes zero sense to me. Makes zero sense. But I'm just happy that she's in Las Vegas. Shout out to Kalani. Congratulations. Alana's with Indiana Fever. Congratulations. Just too bad it was not the Mystics. So Becky Hammond, DeLasia Milton-Jones, Penny Taylor are all going to the Basketball Women's Hall of Fame. They're also going to be it's going to be in June. That's when the Basketball Hall of Fame is, for the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. I think also too Doug Bruno he's coaching currently DePaul, Bill Snyder, Paul Sanford, Debbie Antonelli, and then Alice Cookie Barron. So congratulations. Well, DeLasia Milton-Jones, she won 2 titles with the Sparks. She won the Wade Trophy when she went to Florida, and she also she won 2 gold medals. So she's currently the head coach at Oh my God, Old Dominion, and actually it's not in what's that conference? The USA conference. Hold on, let me just make sure I have that right. I think that's the old. I think that's the USA conference that they're in. Yes, Conference USA. Okay, and they're 19-5. So and they're 9-3 in the conference. Congrats, and she's doing a really good job with that program. Shout out to Delasia. Penny Taylor, she won 3 titles with the Phoenix Mercury. She also was on the Australian basketball team where she led them to 2 silver medals and 1 gold and a bronze in the FIBA World Cup. Yes, I'm saying that right. And then also to Becky Hammond. I can't believe she was with the Spurs for 8 years. I thought it was longer than that. You know, she was 8 years as an assistant head coach under the great Greg Popovich. You know, she played for the New York Liberty, the San Antonio Silver Stars, and she even won a bronze medal with Russia in 2008. So, congratulations. Coach Bruno, he's coaching at DePaul. His career record so far is 756 and like 364. He's been to the NCAA tournament 24 times, and currently DePaul. I remember she was like 20-7. Coach Stanford, he's been to the women's Final Four 3 times with Western Kentucky. And they also won the Junior College National Championship at Lewisburg College. That's somewhere in North Carolina. And his record was 453 and 189 in Division I. Because he also coached at Nebraska. Coach Snyder coached at Western Texas A&M, and he took 5 national championship teams. He coached at Caen High School. It's a school in Texas. And then Miss Barron, she played for the Wayland Baptist Flying Queens. The team went 104-0 from 1954 to 1957 and won 3 national titles. And she was also part of the 1957 FIBA World Championship, the gold medal team. Congratulations. And then Miss Antonelli, she went to NC State and does a fantastic job for ESPN. I know she's won a couple Emmys, and yes, congratulations. Tamika Catchings, she stepped down as GM of the Indiana Fever. I will be honest, I was shocked. She stepped down yesterday. Didn't see that coming at all. She took the position back in 2017, and the last few years have been very, very interesting with her at the helm as GM. Now, the great Coach Lynn Dunn, who I remember she coached the Fever. Every time the Mystics played, we played them. Because she always outcoached Coach T. I'm sorry. There's a shot to Coach Lynn Dunn. She's taking over as GM. She's going to be interim GM. And she's going to stay back. She's going to have some role within the organization. This is not me. This is I don't want to come across like I'm bashing, but I was disappointed. I think some of it had to do with the recent decision making. Like, you drafted Lauren Cox, and Kaiser Gondrzik, and within 1 year they were cut. That made no sense. They really weren't given a chance to develop. Lauren Cox is in LA, and now Kaiser's in Chicago, and they have the number 2 overall pick, and she made the trade to get Rhea Hartley. So now I'm really confused. So on that, I kind of wanted to see what she could have done with that pick. I don't know. The Atlanta Dream, they signed Nadia Jones and Kalia Hillsman, who both went to Texas A&M. Kayla. I said Kayla. I'm sorry. She tried out for the Seattle Storm. Was it 2019? That's where I remember her from. Yeah, that's where I remember her from. Yeah, so that's pretty much that's what's happened. So, and the Washington Mystics, we signed Rory. I apologize if I butcher her name. And Cheetah. We all may know her. She had she had a shiny. She had a bright moment in the Olympics where she averaged 7 points, 12.5 assists, and 2 rebounds in the games, and she I think had 18 assists because she played for Japan, and they beat France. What was it, 87-71? She could be the backup for Natasha Cloud. It's a training camp contract. I'm optimistic about it. I'm curious to see where it goes. Welcome to DC. She's not a bad player. I've seen some of the highlights. She can actually play. She's a good distributor of the ball. She can fit his style of play. I still have some questions regarding the roster because there's holes in that roster. Because we still didn't really truly fix that we a power forward, even though Maisha Hines Allen can play the 4. However, a center would not hurt. Let me just say it like that. So now I'm really trying to figure out what he can take with the number 1 overall pick. Oh my gosh, we'll see. Let's transition into athletes. We're going to wrap up week 3 of Athletes Unlimited and then week 4 preview. So the last few games, Team Harrison beat Team Cloud 85-79, and then Team Hawkins beat Team Brown 104-90. So with the standings, Team Hawkins went 2-1. Team Brown went 1-2. Team Harrison went 3-0. And then Team Cloud went 2-1. So not bad. And your leaderboards for the leaders are still your top 4 for week 3. Tiana Hawkins, Isabel Harrison, Natasha Cloud, and Lexi Brown, which means they are team captains for week 4. Tiana Hawkins, man, is on a roll. She is killing it. She has over almost 4,300 points. And it's a distant second between her and Isabel Harrison. Kelsey Mitchell is still over. She's with Team USA, so she should be back. No, I think she's going to be done. Yeah, I got to see. Hold on, I got to look at the schedule. For week 4, Team Hawkins, Coach Patterson was the facilitator. Tiana Hawkins took Kelsey Mitchell, Kalani Brown, Sydney Colston, Destiny Walker, Essence Carson, Danny McRae, Takoa Ross, Majora Butler, Shannon McCallum, and Tina Roy. Team Harrison, Planette Pearson was her facilitator. She took Taj Cole, Jantel Lavender, Ty Young, Lexi Brown, Dominique Wilson, Kirby Burkholder, Kiki Harrigan, Cece Andrews, Chelsea Phillips, Becca Wayne Taylor, Danielle Vergalone, Team Cloud, Dejanay Carrington, Mercedes Russell, Drew Edelman, Mimi Jackson, Lauren Manis, Air Hearn, Imani McGee Stafford, Antoinette Bannister, Antoinette Thompson, and Grace Hunter. Team Sims, the facilitator was Pokey Chapman. Odyssey took Courtney Williams, Nikki Green, Jessica Custer, Brianna Jackson, Akila Mays, Rebecca Harris, Lauren Mincy, Brittany Carter, and Takoya Lee. And to start off week 4, I cannot believe we're 4 weeks into this. It's crazy. We got Team Cloud versus Team Harrison on YouTube at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on YouTube. I'm going to say Team Cloud 85-81.
Guaranteed.
And then we got a 9 o'clock Bally Sports Network, Team Hawkins versus Team Sins. Team Hawkins 104-88.
Guaranteed.
Then on the 18th on Bally Sports Network as well, we got Team Sins versus Team Harrison. Team Harrison 90-85.
Guaranteed.
And then that game, the next game is at 11:30, Team Cloud versus Team Hawkins. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to say Team Hawkins pulls it out 95-90.
Guaranteed.
Then on the 19th, we got Team Sims versus Team Cloud. That'll be on Fox Sports, Fox Sports 2. Team Cloud 85-71.
Guaranteed.
And then Team Hawkins versus Team Harrison. Ooh. I'm gonna say Team Hawkins. Let's go pull that one out. I'm gonna say 80-76.
Guaranteed.
And that's week 4. Those are my predictions. I would say for like the first 3 weeks, I've gotten them pretty much wrong. So this is my predictions. But it's been great basketball. Check it out if you hadn't already. Really great. I really sad after this week and next week, that's it. So, yeah, with that being said, I mean, that's going to conclude season 1. Not season 1. Oh, my God. Episode 1, season 6 of the podcast. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please share the video, like, comment, subscribe. I just, man, the whole thing with Aaliyah Boston, we got to do better. Especially when we're pundits and we're members of the media and we're supposed to, we're supposed to be unbiased when it comes to sports. But there's something about when you know how to play, when you see a good player doing his or her thing or their thing, you need to give them that respect. It makes zero sense that those type of narratives are being created and people follow behind it. And instead of watching the games and seeing for yourself, like, okay, I see what I see what they're saying. I see what Coach Stanley's saying about Aaliyah. I see what they mean now. Because how can you just be okay and just say, this person should get this award because hey, look at what they're doing. I mean, they're playing with less, and unfortunately, yeah, that sucks. And yeah, you have to kind of, there are people that carry their teams like that, but if you're putting up those numbers on a relevant team, that's on a team like that, that's irrelevant to me. You want to play with many great players. You want to, and that's the key. And I think I don't think we think like that. But again, we're missing. If we continue with these narratives on players like Aaliyah Boston, or Lamar Jackson, for example, we're missing the greatness. We truly are. Because my thing is, what's going to happen when they get into the league?
It's ridiculous. It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Yes, man. This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
So, with that being said, that's going to end the video. I'm out. Let me know your thoughts. But Vernon Hargraves III, man. I'm out. Peace. Stay up.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.